Spider-Man Far From Home is out, and I must say, this is my favorite live-action Spider-Man film. Following is a theory for Spider-Man Far From Home's first end-credit scene and the future of Spider-Man in the MCU. So if you have not seen it yet, beware. Spoilers are ahead. In the first end-credit scene, Spider-Man is with MJ as he leaves to swing off to do Spider-Man-like things. He's interrupted when a TV screen shows J. Jonah Jameson, who works for the DailyBugle.net. Jameson shows a video that has Mysterio stating that he was able to defeat the Elementals, but Spider-Man attacked him, killing him using Stark tech, so that Spider-Man could be the next Iron Man. This idea puts a stain on Stark Industries that has had enough issues with creating most of the MCU's villains, including the man we know as Quentin Beck, the company that took the tech from him and fired him. As it changes the public's view on Spider-Man, a known associate of Iron Man, he is beloved by many, but is now believed to be a selfish murderer using Stark tech to kill, as J. Jonah Jameson states, the greatest hero known to man. To add insult to injury in the video, Mysterio tells the world that Spider-Man's real identity is Peter Parker. This puts Peter in trouble, as Peter is known to have received a grant from Tony Stark. Even if the DailyBugle.net is not known as a trustworthy news source, this has to be a big story for Spider-Man and Peter, as they are both seen in London, adding to the credibility that the two are the same person. I don't think that this version of J. Jonah Jameson is a homage, so to speak, to Alex Jones, but along the lines of Jameson in the comics, with an updated version being online media. So my theory, is Mysterio dead? I don't believe so. He stated that he had contingency plans. Mysterio being shot was shown to be an illusion. At the moment, the real Mysterio could have been shot also, but is not known. The real Mysterio collapses on the floor after attempting to shoot Peter. Peter, using Edith, asks, "Is this real?" And Edith replies, "There are no more illusions." This wording is very specific because it does not confirm if Mysterio was dead, only that he is not using any electronic illusions. It could be a practical illusion, possibly a practical illusion used by Nick Fury. Yes, I'm talking about Tetrodotoxin B, created by Bruce Banner, but used by Nick Fury to fake his death. It is not out of the realm of possibility that Mysterio and his people could get a hold of it. Another thing, it could be bad writing, but Peter used Edith to stop the drones without having administrative rights. Though his biometrics were in the system, he should not have been able to override Quentin's commands. I believe that Quentin still had control of Edith, but allowed Peter to use it, and will get it back in another grand plan of his at a later date. I believe this will tie into my favorite Spider-Man story. It's an 8-part story named Spider-Man Identity Crisis. I've personally wanted this storyline to be shown in the big screen, but altered it for modern times as it is a little bit cheesy. I even went as far to tweet the head of Marvel, Kevin Feige, about it with no answer. After seeing Far From Home, I even tweeted the director, John Watts, asking if that's what's coming next. I'm a nobody, so they didn't answer. Let me explain to you the Identity Crisis story and a few ways it could tie in. In the Identity Crisis story, Spider-Man was framed by Norman Osborn in The Trapster for murder of a small-time crook named Joey Z. Joey Z was killed using web fluid to fill his lungs. Norman Osborn also provoked Spider-Man into attacking him on tape. A $5 million bounty was put on the head of Spider-Man by the Daily Bugle in cooperation with the police department. Peter then created 4 different personas to find out what happened on both sides of the law, 4 of them being made as backups in case one of them was to be found out. One persona, the Hornet, actually goes to the Daily Bugle looking for information on who framed Spider-Man. He is even mistaken for Yellow Jacket. While in the Hornet disguise, he says to the media that you don't have to worry about seeing Spider-Man when they ask him, "Are you here to find him?" The Vulture hears this and, thinking that the Hornet took out Spider-Man, vows to take on and defeat the Hornet. The Vulture fights Hornet and later figures out that Spider-Man is the Hornet because of his fighting style. And he puts it out to the media that the Hornet is actually Peter Parker, causing him to abandon the Hornet persona. This could be tied into the MCU as the Vulture does know the identity of Spider-Man. Another persona, Ricochet, was an undercover villain and was asked if he was a knockoff Captain America because he used a small disc that ricochet around the room and off of people as weapons. He used this identity to find information about Black Tarantula, a villain believed to be a part of the framing. Dusk, a villain persona who finds out that the Shocker used adhesives to his feet and hands similar to Spider-Man in order to crawl on walls. I think this could be used further to frame Spider-Man for subsequent crimes. Dusk also forms a friendship with the villain, the Trapster, getting him to admit to framing Spider-Man. The persona Prodigy, a hero who was even liked by Osborn, was used to provide fake evidence that the Spider-Man who attacked Norman Osborn was an imposter in order to clear his name of the assault. If the former Stark and Avengers Tower is to become the new Oscorp building, coupled with this version of J. Jonah Jameson, it could be a tricky situation that Spider-Man needs to get himself out of. The second end credit scene I'll speak about for a second, it shows Nick Fury and Maria Hill were in fact Skrulls working for Nick Fury, who seemed to be in space, starting some version of SWORD or possibly even Alpha Flight. In the same vein, a Skrull could be used to pretend to be Peter, as the actual Peter uses these 4 personalities to find information on how Quentin framed him and his connection to any of the other villains, including a possibility for Sinister Six, or even Osborn, who Spider-Man was allegedly after in the Identity Crisis story. If you like my theory for the future of Spider-Man, or you have any ideas of what could be going on, please leave it down in the comments. Tap that like button if you don't mind. Subscribe and look out for other content from me and the other hosts of the We Do Stuff podcast. See you guys tonight.